What is up, guys? PieMuffin here, and we are back with another Tales-related video. I meant to make this video a while ago, or not even a while ago, like a couple days ago, but I think it was late when this came out, and I just fell asleep and forgot about it. Once again, thank you to Abyssal Chronicles. Definitely follow them over on Twitter. They always do all this hard work for the Tales franchise and keeping us up to date with news. We had another Famitsu interview, this time with new Tales producer Yusuke Tomizawa, sorry if I butcher anyone's names, and Vesperia director Yoshito Higuchi. So let's just go ahead and see what was talked about here. Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition producer and director talk about the project, the upcoming console title, and more. Let's begin what led to the development of the remaster. Tomizawa went on to say, the two main factors were the year of the 10th anniversary for Tales of Vesperia, and realizing that the number of titles that could be played on current hardware was dwindling. So part of it was responding to the players who said they still wanted to play those games. We also knew we could do a worldwide simultaneous release while reaching platforms like the Nintendo Switch and PC that we haven't made headway into to reach more players than ever before. So immediately when I hear that, stuff like PC and Nintendo Switch. PC, I immediately think Steam releases. So like what they did with Symphonia, how they did like an HD version, they just threw on Steam. I'm totally hoping that that's something they think about for other titles, where they'll just start, like Xillia and Xillia 2 don't need a remaster or a remake upgrade. They literally just need to be they already have the HD graphics, just slap Xillia on Steam and Xillia 2. Or even just make like a bundle pack, make it like a $60 pack, and people can get both games. Or if they want them separately, have them be like $30, because it is an older game. So let's go ahead and talk about the announcement. The original announcement was at Xbox E3 2018. What was the reception like? Tomizawa went on to say, so grateful we were shocked. It really hammered home how beloved Vesperia was overseas and how much it's maintained that level of passion all these years. I was literally shaking. And then Higuchi said, not only that, but this is a remaster of the PlayStation 3 release, which is never released abroad. So there's also the fact that we finally answered the foreign fans' eagerness after so long. That is a huge deal, because if you look over here in the West, the two main, like if you ask someone a casual person, have you ever heard of the Tales series? Most people who have heard of it will say they've either heard of Symphonia or Vesperia, because those, honestly, even just like sales-wise and just reception-wise, that's where most people in the West got into the series. Because a lot of the titles didn't come around until kind of later. I mean, there were some earlier ones, obviously, but for the most part, that's when really people got into the Tales series, with those two, and those had the most, I don't want to say popular characters, because that's obviously all opinion-based. Whoever you like, but facts are that, especially Vesperia, around the Xbox 360 era, was what really brought a lot of people into becoming Tales fans. But let's see what else was said. It is well known abroad, isn't it? What about other games? Perhaps not all of them, but several of our projects are taking the foreign reception into account. And then they go on to ask about anything new in the remaster. Nothing new compared to the PS3 release, but we do intend to bundle some of the paid DLC like costumes and limited time items free of charge. So I'm wondering, so we already know that this edition of Vesperia, okay, yeah, because it says anything new in the remaster. So they're talking about, okay, I thought they meant like anything new in the world of remasters. Like, are they talking about other remasters? So they're talking about nothing new compared. So if you played the PS3 version, whether you can read Japanese or not, this version will not have anything new. But they said they intend to bundle some of the paid DLC. That means not everything is going to be free. So that could be disappointing depending on what they make paid for Vesperia. But hopefully there's not really, unless they add some new stuff. Like, if they decide to add new costumes, like, let's say, for example, because if you played the Steam version of Tales of Vesperia, you'll know that one of the pre-order things was you had, you had Yuri's outfit for Saray. So it'd be kind of cool if they kind of reversed that, maybe give... Yuri would look so weird in it, but let's just say for the sake of this, let's say they put Soray's outfit in Vesperia as like a paid DLC. I guess they could do something like that. So players who have only experienced the Xbox 360 version can look forward to the new elements from the PS3 version, like new characters, Flint and Patty, new cutscenes, and extra voice acting, which we all know about. The only mission you could actually play as Flint in the original 360 version was somewhere towards the end of the game. Right before you get to that final town, you know, where Kaufman and all them build that new town before you go fight the final battle. You could actually... Flynn was in your party for, like, one fight, and you could actually switch to him, but he didn't have any mystic arts. He had, like, very basic arts, so it wasn't anything, like, crazy you could do with him. And Patty hasn't been in the game at all. So that'll be cool. Obviously, new cutscenes, anything that wasn't part of the story, like Patty and Flynn stuff, and then extra voice acting, which I assume they've pretty much gotten everything they need, because it was talked about that, because a lot of people are worried about Troy Baker not being able to come back for Vesperia because he's too popular now and whatnot. But apparently it was revealed that they actually recorded for those scenes when the 360 version was first coming out, but then those lines never made it into the game. So Bandai of America still has those lines somewhere. So even if they couldn't get him, I'm sure they could put those into the game. I just wonder why they decided to go with the... Because if they recorded for his lines, why was it only the 360 version that came out? But anyways, it supports... Is that an F? I'm assuming that's FHD, so like full HD or something like... I don't know what that really refers to, but let's go ahead and see what they say. It depends on the console, but we have polished the graphics in many ways with the understanding of... Okay, so it is an F. FHD rendering. Also, previously only combat rendered at 60 frames per second, but now the entire game runs at 60 FPS. So that is good. So if you're someone who's playing on Steam and you have or if you're playing on Xbox One X, or if you have the PS4 Pro, you know, the game is going to look beautiful for you. So definitely a good thing there. In particular, the effects and 2D rotation look noticeably better, and just being in 60 FPS really changes the experience of navigating around environments. And then the next question was, will the animated cutscenes be remastered as well? So obviously they're asking, like, if it would, they're just redoing, like, would it look like it's a brand new anime scene? But it looks like no, based on what they're saying. The animation has been upscaled to FHD, so just upscaled, it's just like a normal HD remaster, so it's not like they took out the original ones and reanimated everything. They just cleaned them up to basically make them look better. The cutscenes are rendered in-engine, so they'll be rendered to your normal resolution. Have there been any difficulties in development because the environment has changed so much in 10 years? We have all the original source code and other data, so of course we started by seeing how much of it could be ported to our new environment, but it was more unique than we expected, and they chuckled. Vesperia was the first HD game in the series to start with, so we kind of made it as we went along. That's good to know. Looking back at it now, there's some terribly tricky engineering in there, and a fair bit of homegrown process. And the animation was done by Production IG, and it was their first HD product as well. I remember at first they asked, is this even possible? And it was certainly a transitional period. And it goes on to say, so it wasn't an easy port. We have our methods. The original staff also helped out a great deal, so we managed to figure it out somehow. Thinking about the process now, there were many times where we really felt the motion of history from back then to now. So they're basically saying how it took longer, obviously, back in the day than it does now, because they've already done it before. I've actually been fairly hands-off development. I was available if anything happened, of course, but it seems everything to have gone fine. Any plans to remake or remaster other older games in the future? This is obviously something fans are really talking about. Our first priority is to get as many people as possible to love Tales as long as possible. So we want to give them the opportunity to experience the games that form the series' origins. We haven't decided if that's going to be through remasters or remakes or something else, but we are open to requests. So it seems like they're going to pay attention to fan feedback. So, like, for example, once Vesperia Remaster comes out, I assume they're going to keep a close eye on Twitter and other forms of social media to see what people are saying about it, and seeing, like, you know, you get people who will be like, oh, this remaster was great, it'd be awesome if this Tales game got remastered. And I assume if they see what people are talking about a lot, they'll obviously do that. I know a lot of fans want some of the older games to come to newer consoles, you know, like Fantasia, Rebirth, Destiny, Destiny 2. Obviously, I'm expecting the older ones over the newer ones, because if people said something like Symphonia, like if they wanted, like, because obviously they call the Symphonia on PC a remaster, and obviously we have the PS3 one, but not really much has changed too much. Like, it still looks like, it does look better, I'll give it that, than the original GameCube version that I played back in the day. But I guess they could go with a more, like, real kind of remaster feel to it, because, I mean, I can play, because I have it on Steam, and I guess I can play it at 60 FPS, but it still does kind of have some issues, so I wonder if they would ever actually go back to do a full, I don't want to say remake, because I don't know if it would still be Symphonia if they remade it, like if they redid every scene, everything from the game. I don't know if it would still be the same game. It'd be a lot easier to remake some of the older stuff, like Fantasia and stuff, which is obviously very dated now. And, you know, I know a lot of people, especially people who follow me, love the older style of Tales games, but honestly, this is obviously going to come from a, you know, a money-grubbing stand. I don't want to say money-grubbing, because obviously I don't want to think of them in that light, but basically from a business standpoint, Bandai might remake, like let's say, for example, they may remake Fantasia, and the gameplay could be like Berseria, instead of being like what it was in Fantasia, because they want to pull in a new crowd of Tales fans. They want to pull in as many fans as they can, and there's a lot of people today who like the gameplay style of Berseria. I'm not going to say Zestiria, because nobody likes the Zestiria gameplay. They like Berseria, they like Vesperia, they like Symphonia, the kind of 3D... I mean, well, Symphonia was 3D, but you still could only move left and right. So it wasn't... I wouldn't include that, but like Xillia, Berseria, you know, having that 3D kind of like battlefield is what people like. And, you know, honestly, if Bandai really wants to make money and pull more fans in, and I know a lot of people won't like this, but a game like Fantasia, Rebirth, Destiny, all those games are going to be, you know, remastered to look like Berseria. I know some people don't like the art style of how the characters look. A lot of people like more Symphonia Vesperia style, whereas Berseria is much more like CG. But I totally see them sticking in that direction, because that's what people are buying now. But they may also kind of stick to like a Vesperia kind of look as well, since that seems to be, you know, like a fan favorite type thing. But anyways, I rambled on about that for long enough. But yeah, that's obviously with the whole thing with remakes or remasters, I feel like anything before Symphonia will just get remakes. Because you're not just going to slap something like Fantasia exactly how it is, you know, maybe touch up the audio a little bit. You're not going to slap that on a PS4 for $50 and expect people to buy it. It's not going to happen. I mean, the die-hard fans will, but your casual fan is going to look at it and be like, why would I spend $50 on this? This looks so old. It looks like it should be on like a 3DS or something, which they may do. You know, something like Fantasia, if they don't want to do a full remake, they could just do a remaster for like 3DS or something. Because obviously that's a game that would fit more on there than it would on a PS4. But let's keep moving on. Does that mean you, Mr. Tomizawa, are going to be a producer on the Tales series? That's right, I will be involved in future projects on home consoles, including the new one announced at Tales of Festival 2018 as producer. So obviously, we know that the original producer for the Tales series left, and we have a new one who worked on the God Eater series. And they like this goes on to say, will you be managing the Tales IP as a whole, like with God Eater? The series has gone a long time without a home console release, so we'd like to focus on releasing a new console product for the moment. But as we move forward, I expect to expand from working with the console teams to mobile and events to help them work together as well. So obviously, I made a previous video about this, that the game that was teased at Tales Fest 2018 was not the mobile game. That was not Crestoria. So, but they want to kind of coincide with things. So obviously their main focus right now is the console Tales game. When that comes out, we have no idea, but hopefully we'll find out something sooner than later. But obviously even the producers admit it's been a while since a new Tales game. Vesperia came out at the tail end of 2016. And we're at the tail end of 2018. That's 2 years without a title. And the fact that it hasn't even been announced yet means we're not going to probably get... The earliest I could see us getting it is at the end of 2019. We're not going to get a Tales game before summer of next year if it hasn't even been announced yet. Speaking of mobile, you just announced a new game, Tales of Crestoria. Can you tell us more about it? I'm not working on it myself, but I know it's taking a different path from the All-Star games before and trying to be its own entirely new story. So that basically confirms it. It is not going to be a crossover game like Link, Asteria, and Rays. It is going to be its own game. How the gacha system will work, we have no idea, obviously, because it is a mobile game. It's going to be a free mobile game, and they even say in the pre-registration stuff, we get summon, like, ticket rewards. So I feel like it's going to be one of those things where we're pulling for equipment again, because there's no way the game's going to have enough characters, unless they're just going to have different variants of the same, 20 characters, kind of like the Danmachi game has, where there's, 20 to 30 characters, but each banner has, a different version of each one. So unless they're going to do that, where you can just get, the main character's name is Kanata. So unless Kanata is going to have, a summer version of him, a Christmas version of him, Valentine's version of him, I don't see them going with the character route for this, and I see it totally being for equipment. They're hoping to reach everyone out there enjoying RPGs on their phones and become a new entry point to the series. So the fact they said they're hoping to reach everyone out there kind of gives me an idea that we may get Crestoria out here in the West. Don't quote me on it. Don't go on saying that we're getting it for sure. But the fact that they want to reach everyone means that if it does well in Japan, there's a very high chance we could get it over here. But with how, Tales of Link ended early and then Tales of the Rays ended, it's just hard to see what's really going to happen with this Tales game when it comes to the West. And then here's the big question. What's the status of the new game you're working on? I can't share anything yet, so you have to wait for more information, but I've been informally involved with development from the start, and what we always had in our mind was brand value and what the fans love in our games. And we've talked a great deal about those ideas as a team. The entire team is working with love, so that is great. Obviously, we won't know what that will entail, because obviously the Tales fandom is about as split as the Dragon Ball fandom when it comes to what we like. There are fans who like the original styles, like Fantasia. There are fans who like Symphonia, Vesperia style. And there are fans who actually like the Zestiria style and fans who like Berseria. Obviously, the way gameplay and fighting works in each Tales game varies. But, who knows how it's all gonna end up. What can you tell us about the organization? Bandai Namco Studios is managing it. They built up the series from the start, so their people are reliable. I'm working on other things right now, but I've seen Mr. Tomizawa talking with their staff all over the Bandai Namco Studios offices on a nearly daily basis. He definitely has all lines open for this project. Personally, I'm very excited to see what happens. In the future, I'd also like to open lines to the fans so we can hear what they're looking for. Until then, we hope they have fun playing in the Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition, which obviously is coming out. I believe it. They said like January 12th. I think it should be. It's around there. It's around January 12th. And obviously, here's the article down here that was where all this was talked about. Other than that, there's really not too much else to say. Obviously, new game is still in development. I guess there's a chance we could hear about it at the Tokyo Game Show in 6 days. But I would not hold my breath on that because it seems like they really want to focus on Crestoria. So after that, I don't know when we could actually hear about the new Tales game. It seems like they had a huge kind of success when it was announced at the E3 Xbox 2018 showing. So I guess there's a chance they could actually show it at the Game Awards. The Video Game Awards. I guess we could get a trailer there if they really want to. I think that would actually be really smart because that's the whole world watches that to see what kind of game reveals are there and who's winning what awards for what games. So I think it would be really smart for them to announce it there, even if it's like a short teaser about the game, like the teaser that we got for Crestoria. If we got something like that. Like, something that really entices fans for, like, the console, I think that would be a great way to kind of pull people in. But, other than that, not really too much else to say, like I said. Should look for... And they say here, they want to have open lines to the fans. So, I would expect that at some point before the new Tales game comes out, or around when the new Tales game comes out, whenever that is... I expect they'll probably have like a poll thing. I don't know where or how they'll do this, but I expect they're going to be open to. They probably know in their head what the most popular Tales titles on the remaster list are, and I could see them doing a poll with like the top 5, and whichever gets the most votes is the one they'll work on next. So they obviously want to do what the fans like because. When the fans like their product, they buy it. Obviously, it's good for them. It's good for everyone. But anyways, guys, let me know what you thought of this article down below. Don't forget to subscribe for more if you're new to the channel. I will see you all next time. Have a wonderful day, everyone.